Hi everyone, today's story is something many of us quietly relate to. But let me ask you something before we begin. Think about the last time someone asked you for a favor. Did you want to say no, but said yes anyway? Now think about how many times that has happened. This week? This month? This year? If the answer makes you uncomfortable, this story is for you. There was a guy named Marcus. Everyone loved him. He was the first person called when something needed doing. The neighbor who helped you move furniture at 7 a.m. without complaint. The colleague who stayed late to finish someone else's work. The son who drove 4 hours every weekend because nobody else would. The friend who listened for hours and never once said he had somewhere else to be. Everyone loved Marcus. And Marcus loved being needed. At least, that is what he told himself. It started small, the way these things always do. A favor here, a yes when he meant no, a smile when he felt something else entirely, each one so small it seemed unreasonable to refuse, each one so small that refusing would have made him seem difficult, selfish, unkind. So he said yes, and then yes again. And then yes until yes became the only word he knew how to say. By the time he was 40, Marcus had built an entire life around other people's needs. His calendar belonged to everyone but him. His evenings disappeared into other people's emergencies. His weekends were spent solving problems that were not his to solve. His own dreams, the ones he had carried quietly since he was young, sat untouched in a corner of his mind, gathering dust. He had always wanted to write, nothing grand, just stories, small ones, the kind that made people feel less alone. He had carried this dream for 20 years and never once sat down to begin. There was always something more important, someone who needed him more. One evening, Marcus came home after helping a colleague move into a new apartment. 6 hours carrying boxes in the rain. His back ached. His phone had 17 unread messages, 3 from his sister asking him to organize a family event, 2 from a friend needing a loan, the rest from people who needed something. He sat on the edge of his bed and looked at his hands. They were tired, not from the boxes, from everything else. He picked up his phone to reply. And then he stopped. He sat in the quiet of his room for a long time. No one asking for anything in that moment. Complete stillness. And in that stillness, a thought arrived. Quiet, but clear. The way true things usually come. When was the last time anyone asked Marcus what Marcus needed? He could not remember. He put the phone down. He did not reply that night. The next morning, his sister called the family event. Could he organize it? He took a breath. No, he said. Not this time. A long pause. Are you okay? His sister asked. I am learning to be, he said. It was the hardest word he had ever spoken, harder than any yes, because yes had always felt like love, like proof that he mattered, like the thing that made people stay. But no, said calmly, said clearly, said without apology, felt like something he had not felt in a very long time. It felt like himself. The weeks that followed were uncomfortable. Some people were confused, some frustrated. One friend stopped calling altogether. And Marcus realized quietly and sadly that the friendship had only ever been built on what he provided, never on who he was. But something else happened too. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, space appeared in his life. Small pockets of time that belonged to no one but him. And one evening, a Tuesday, nothing special about it, Marcus sat down at his kitchen table with a notebook and a pen. And he began to write. The first story was only 3 pages. It was not perfect, but it was his. fully, completely, entirely his. And when he finished and read it back, he felt something he had spent 20 years giving away to everyone else. He felt whole. My friend, how many times today did you say yes when everything inside you was saying no? Not the big yeses, the small ones, the quiet ones, the ones that seem too minor to refuse and too constant to survive. There is a version of kindness that costs nothing, and there is a version that costs everything. Why? Your time, your energy, your dreams, given away one yes at a time until the person doing the giving has quietly disappeared. You are allowed to say no. Not to everything, not to everyone, but to enough. Enough to leave room for the person you were before you became so useful to everyone else. No is not a wall. No is a door. And on the other side of it is the life that has been waiting for you to show up. Subscribe for a new story every week and share this with someone who needs permission to finally say no.